Hello and welcome to Patched. I'm your host, Paul James. Today I'm joined by, well, he can still play games on Xbox, Matto Phillips.
I sort of feel like I should have worn a green t-shirt instead of a red one. I should have blended in.
Team Nintendo.
Gone with the theme.
It's probably a Nintendo Direct week, so you could be all right in the end.
Oh, that's good.
If you believe all the rumblings, they were meant to have a Direct last week, but they delayed it because of the whole Xbox thing that we're going to get into now. So
isn't that nice of them? How nice.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they announce at this thing, if that's legit as well, just to
The delayed Switch 2 come in 2025.
Yeah, that little bit of news almost, probably put together a good argument to actually take over as the main topic for this episode. But
too bad.
More on that in the future. They've still got to announce the thing first, so let's not worry about it. The Xbox business meeting, conference, whatever they called it, podcast in the end. It was about 22, 23 minutes long. They touched on a whole range of different subjects. Some cool things like, Diablo 4 is coming to Game Pass, but I think that was also to soften up the fact that they announced what had been heavily rumoured, heavily speculated, basically confirmed anyway, is that they're kind of going multi-platform. There's 4 games that are going to come out for other platforms. They didn't specify which ones, and I guess maybe that's a case that some things will work on the Switch and other things won't. So that maybe dictates a little bit. But we've got 4 games jumping ship from Xbox, pun intended, considering one of them Sea of Thieves. Matto, what's your... Because we kind of avoided trying to talk about it the week before, knowing that it was coming. And also it was the patches, and the episode was big enough as it is. What was your, I guess, feeling about this whole showcase thing before it even played out?
Not much. I just thought they were going to go, right, we're not go the full Sega technique and go, we're not making consoles anymore. And everyone will go, oh, you suck, this, that. Like, yeah, why would you want to compete against, Sony that's outselling you 2-1 in consoles? What's the point? And Nintendo's Nintendo, and they're just going to dominate them together.
They got their market.
And so, as always, Xbox will finish last. No matter how good their console would be, they're still going to, unfortunately, finish last.
So you were kind of okay with the idea that maybe they were just going to completely fold and that was it? Become a third-party publisher?
Yeah, I didn't really care. Sega does it. No one complains about that.
Yeah. I mean, they did at the time, but yeah. In time, I've come to realise it's probably for the best.
Yeah, well, all they got to do now is just scrap Sonic, focus on, better games than Sonic. Well, yeah. And you'll be good. But they're still doing good things. Sorry, Sega.
There's a little bit of wonders, what would have happened with Sega if, if they kept going, and all the franchises that we've kind of got from them now that are kind of doing pretty well still came about. So you go, okay, you think about what a Sega console would be, and you go, okay, so there's Sonic now. Obviously, the quality kind of varies with that, but maybe if they're designing them for their own console, they might invest a bit more, and the games are of a higher quality. Who knows? But then you've got Yakuza, you've got Persona, you've got all of those sort of games that kind of spin off of that franchise. All of a sudden you go, actually, there's quite a few kind of franchises that
Does Daytona 500 count?
I guess. Was it a Sega thing?
I think it was a Sega thing. I'm very certain every time I played it in the cinemas, it had Sega over it. And it looked very Sega-ish. I could be wrong on that too.
And I'm sure there's other stuff that I'm not thinking about as well, but like those few things kind of... Oh, well, yeah, of course, because all the stuff that they're planning on bringing back.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, duh.
Yeah,
of course.
Good point. Yeah. So you go, oh, shit, like, what if they'd actually kind of stuck around and all these games had time to come out? And I wonder what the scenario would have been, and we probably wouldn't have had Xbox, so... Oh, no, actually, they kind of folded in time for the PS2, and then the Xbox came out like 2000. Yeah, about the same time.
There was a bunch of a bunch of dickheads on stage dancing with no dance moves whatsoever back in 2001, 2002, whatever it was. You just look at it now and go, if that was me and I was the son of one of those people, I'd be embarrassed.
Pretty much.
Like, Dad, what was that?
Yeah, checks out.
Your son.
So obviously that's not what happened in the end for Xbox. They announced that there's 4 games that are going to be jumping ship. since then, Video Games Chronicle has kind of come out and confirmed, despite the fact that Phil was like, oh, we want to give the teams the opportunity to announce them their own way. Too late, mate. The gig was up as soon as this whole pile of rumors started coming out anyway. But anyway, the 4 games, according to Video Games Chronicle, are Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, Pentiment, and Grounded. Those 4 games, I guess, what do you think about those 4 to begin with before we kind of expand further?
I think it's a nice trial to start off with, because you don't want to go with your big games to start off with.
Or you could and win
that.
all those people over.
But if that's the case, then you're never going to sell on Xbox if that's the case.
Yeah.
But Hi-Fi Rush, it can work on Nintendo, and if those 30 ponies want to play it too,
you can
go ahead.
You will be able to.
You can.
And
it's a good game, so don't hate Xbox just for being Xbox.
I mean, the reality is, if you're a Nintendo or a PlayStation person and you want to see more of this stuff, if those games are even half interesting to you, don't be a stubborn kind of Sony pony or I don't know, what do we call Nintendork. Just like pick them up. Like pick them up, because I think if Microsoft sees good numbers, this thing will continue. And I think the reality is that from the way Phil spoke, I think it's already decided it's going to continue. Like he kind of shot down, but didn't 100% shoot down the Starfield and Indiana Jones talk. He's like, they're not coming for now. Like, there was nothing definitive. It's like that, there was no, they will never come to other platforms. Like, it was very, very carefully done.
Someone else said that once, and they didn't eat their own shoe, but
yeah. Yeah, good point. Or when Resident Evil 4 wasn't meant to leave the GameCube, he said he'd cut his head off with a chainsaw. Well, Shinji Mikami's still here, so liar.
Head intact.
Head intact too. So yeah, there's no big grand promises there, but I think that's because they already know that some of these other games will be on the way. It makes me think more about what happened with Blade when that was announced last year at the Game Awards. Remember how it took ages before they'd finally put up the trailer on the Xbox. On the Xbox channel, it was just Bethesda and Bethesda only. Oh, sorry, and maybe like Marvel games or something like that, but not for the actual console platform that it was going to. And I feel like there was probably some negotiation on the side, like, hang on, we need to put this trailer up there. We need to be able to shoot down this conversation, and so they were probably talking with Marvel about it. That's a whole mess as well, and I feel like that's probably just kind of inevitable down the line now as well. I don't know, like it's a weird spot for him. I get, to your point before, I get why they've kind of done it the way they've done it and not gone with the big hitters, as much as it'd be nice as someone who'd, and I think I put this out on Twitter, like, I would be beyond stoked to play Gears on PlayStation. And we nearly got that back in the day anyway, because I don't know if you ever saw it, there was like development footage of Gears 3 on PlayStation. That obviously never amounted to anything, but I'd love that as someone who loves Gears, loves third-person shooters, and is obviously PlayStation first. I'd love a chance to play those there. Plus, many other franchises too. So,
and maybe they can do like a bundle where you can get Gears of War and God of War in the same bundle.
Just the GOW collection.
The GOW Collector's Edition or Collector's Pack.
Checks out. Why
not?
But
I know.
But it'd be cool. Maybe like some custom ones. People are just like buying all these games and then bundling them up online for resale.
I don't know if they're really smart, they can do switcheroo. So Kratos could be in Gears of War, shooting grubs, and Marcus could be in God of War,
swinging blades of chaos
and punching people in the face.
I'll get around it.
That'll never happen.
What did you make of I guess before we go really broad with the likes of Gears and Halo and all the other big franchises we kind of know for ages, the ones that they did discuss being Starfield and why am I going blank on the other game now? I mentioned it just a moment ago. Indiana Jones. What did you think about the way Phil spoke about that? Or Matt Booty, I don't know. Sarah seemed to be just there to kind of do the positive bits. Look at our sales of this, or look, Diablo's coming to Game Pass. So I think they were very mindful to maybe make sure, and I get it actually, because unfortunately there's a large section of the game's consumer base that are horribly sexist. So it was probably a good thing that she didn't get the bad news to deliver and just focus on the good stuff.
Absolutely copped it.
Yeah,
Like the dickheads they are
yeah, exactly.
of brainless society people who, let's be honest, don't think.
No,
Just follow the other dickhead in front of you and just do what they do, and you deserve a slapping for it.
100%. But yeah,
Or
ooh,
a sledgehammer to your console or PC so you can never play again. Take your pick.
checks out. I can get around that.
And when I say slap it, I mean a huge one. Like wind it up and
Giant
just
backhand.
go like off Jackass 3 where they have that
Oh yeah, the
massive
giant hand that swings out. I love that.
yeah, except it's like really, really hard. It's like a mannequin hand or something. But anyway, let's not talk about mannequin hands and slapping because
Um,
that's all we're not.
yeah, because it's not happening because Sarah didn't have to deliver any bad news. Um, but yeah, what do you think of the Indiana Jones and Starfield component and the way they kind of addressed that? Because it was that rumor was pretty rampant leading up.
It was a very, very instant no. Like Starfield Indiana Jones, no, they're not covered. No.
But
So straight up
yeah,
just no. There wasn't even any space between the question and the answer, just no.
but not
Like a
definitive
small
again.
child. It's like
Yeah.
a small child holding onto a teddy, like, can I have your teddy? No. Mine. Give me some ice cream. No.
It was still one of those interesting ones though, because it was like, no, but that
Yeah,
might
but
change. Kind of like it's yeah. I get why it wasn't. Obviously, the whole thing was like scripted and pre-planned and that sort of thing. So like,
Yeah. I sort of feel like too they'll say something like they say no, and then 5 years later it comes to PlayStation. Then people just go back to that video of him saying no, and then they'll think, "Oh, what a dickhead!"
but then
Like,
Phil will
you
come
know,
out or Xbox will come out and be like, no, but did you listen to the whole thing? Where he's like, no, it's not in our plans now. Like, yeah, it's just they've given themselves an out with almost everything, which gives me the shits because it's just not being honest. But whatever, I guess it's shit. So then going further, the likes of like the big ones, the ones we've known for years, Gears and Halo and those sorts of things. Gears obviously came up in this whole thing as something that was being speculated on. We've got the likes of Fable that are in development at the moment. Halo, whether it's Infinite or the Master Chief Collection or any of those sort of things. Like what could kind of be in store for those sorts of games going forward? Do you think there's a chance that when we inevitably go beyond 4 games that they're amongst them?
I don't. It's odd about Halo because it is done by Bungie. So I don't know if that's just rubbing it in their face and going, "Hey, remember when you used to be good? Here's Halo to show you what good Bungie used to be like before turned them to shit."
And
Sony.
we'll even give the games to PlayStation fans so they can see exactly how good you used
Yeah,
to be, and then kind of
how
have the
good.
whole Homer Simpson barbecue thing with why doesn't mine look like that?
Like this is a mighty fine looking game. Why can't Bungie make good games like that anymore? Jim. But what was the other? What was the other Gears?
Oh,
What was the
Gears,
Gears one?
yeah, we can bundle all these other franchises in, but Gears was the other one that was being spoken about.
Don't see why not. You can see why what the better GOW game is does not. There are some good games in it. There's a couple of not so great, but overall it is a good franchise. Just ignore the part.
Judgment,
Just remember, Epic Games back in the day made those first 3 games.
and they were
that
epic.
People, and they were epic, and now they just make microtransaction
Fortnite.
battle royale game. They've gone downhill since, really downhill, promoting stuff to kids when they shouldn't be promoting stuff
Yeah.
to kids, and still making money for it.
There's nothing that they can do that's going to cost them money. It feels like at this point.
They just laugh at it and go, right, here it is. Just get out of the ashtray of your car. There's that $830 million that we need to pay. We'll get it back. We'll get it all back next week. Don't worry.
Yeah, there's no issues for them in the slightest. Yeah, I mean, look, I think Halo, Gears, those sorts of things, it's only a matter of time. Maybe the wait is longer for those sorts of games. And I don't see, like, Gears 6 coming to any other platform without, I don't know, the earlier games coming there first. So, like, I think there's a pretty slow crawl. I think one of the things that they'd said, I can't remember who it was that said it, I think it might have been maybe Matt Booty during it, where he mentioned, like, the games had done all they could on the platform. So it's kind of that point where, okay, we're basically just not selling to anyone new anymore. I feel like for any of these different games, that's probably the point when they hit that point where, okay, diminishing returns, we're not gonna make any more money off of this on Xbox. Now let's take it elsewhere. It's exactly what PlayStation's done with all these games to PC over the last few years. Like, God of War 2018, it sold all it was going to sell. It sold its 25 million copies or whatever stupid figure that was. All right, well, let's take it over to PC now. It's safe. Horizon Zero Dawn back in the day when it first came across, and that was the first game to come across. It was the exact same logic. Days Gone, like all these games have kind of fit that bill. I think the only probably Death Stranding is a weird one because
it's a Kojima game.
It's a Kojima game, but also PlayStation owns the IP, but for some reason 505 Games owns the rights to the PC, like to publish it on PC, so they could do their own thing without PlayStation's blessing. It was a weird one.
Oh. That is odd.
I don't know if that's going to be the case with Death Stranding 2, but
that's just as odd as a Kojima story right there.
Well, yeah, it is actually.
Scratch your head. But hey,
PlayStation invested all this money in them, in Kojima's studio and the tech behind the game, and then they let some other publisher control the fact that it was coming out on PC. It was weird. I don't even know who's responsible for actually publishing it on mobile, because I think it's out on mobile now, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, I was talked about it.
I'm pretty sure it was, because there was like I'm pretty sure, sorry, it's out now because there was like the Death Stranding director's cut on. Yeah. Not compatible with this device though, so my phone isn't new enough. But
Oh no. Oh dear.
Jeez, feels rough, but okay.
That feels like an insult. Your phone sucks. Buy a better one.
Mine's like
mine's
only like a 13 too. It's only like 2 years old. Arseholes.
Ooh.
But anyway, I wouldn't play it on there anyway. Yeah, so like that was a weird exception to the rule there. But yeah, I mean, PlayStation's been doing this for a while, and it's certainly felt like, okay, we're not selling any more copies. Now let's put in front of a new audience. And the exception, I guess, most recently has now been Helldivers. But that was a live service, so I think it's a bit different. The rules are a bit different for those, and it's gone bananas.
Absolutely bananas.
Yeah, I think I saw it end up hitting more than 400,000 concurrents now.
450,000 last time I checked. They
Holy
had to. Oh no, I think they put the server up to 450 players because people are waiting a very long time to get into the server.
Yeah, let me check SteamDB while we're chatting. But
I think it was 600,000. It was a stupid number.
It's tapped out its highest so far, which was earlier today.
Today on a Sunday in America or Monday. Yeah.
409,000.
Oh, that's a lot of shooting.
And it's just continuing to go up. So, in fact, there was another, like, it was a very big jump over the weekend.
Because it's meant to be double points weekend. That's why.
About 150,000, and keep in mind that's just PC. That's not including what's going on its kind of normal, more native platform. So, it's pretty crazy what's going on with that at the moment. But I think that's a bit different being a live service. But maybe Xbox, future live services, if they have, I don't know, Sea of Thieves 2, for example, maybe that is, day and date on other platforms. It's a weird one. Any other thoughts on all things that have been kind of going on stemming from that reveal?
Not really. I think it's just like, oh, we're doing this, we're doing that. Cool. At least you're communicating, unlike, Sony. I mean, I know it's a bit, yeah, but nah, sort of thing. Like, oh, is it coming to this? Oh, yeah, but no, but maybe, but no. And then sort of like the whole Activision Blizzard thing is like, he said about one word about it, then just moves on.
Yeah, the silence from PlayStation is a weird one because they're kind of like, it's a weird one because while all that's going on, Microsoft just keeps tripping on their own feet. So there's probably a little bit of them that's going to be like, why bother saying anything when the competition is just making it easier for us anyway? And as soon as maybe we're in a weird sort of situation, and this I say with a fair degree of confidence, that this year they'll announce Ghost of Tsushima 2 or the sequel to that original game. Like, I'm increasingly confident that that's going to happen this year, and like, we'll just do it when we need to. Why rush it? The Insomniac side of things has been spoiled already, so we know that we're not getting Wolverine this year. We know we're not getting it next year, but we know we're going to get spoilers, people. We're getting a Venom game next year. So we don't need to rush. Like, and they don't have anything. They said in their investor call over the weekend that they don't have anything like of a God of War or Spider-Man sort of scale that we're launching. No game like that before,
2025.
before end of March 2025. So they'll announce things for sure. And I'm pretty sure Concord will still come out in that time, but that's not the big, PlayStation, what they're kind of known for sort of game. So they're probably sitting back going, well, we don't need to say anything. Not to mention, they've got at the moment, probably the biggest, well, Helldivers is crushing it. Pell World is obviously huge, but in terms of maybe critical acclaim, they've got potentially the biggest game of the year that's exclusive to their platform, and it's going to come out in a week and a half in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So they're just kind of rolling in it at the moment. They don't need to do much, let alone Rise of the Ronin that's coming down the line.
Oh yes.
And I'm sure there's others. Yeah.
Yeah, there was
Foam Stars, of course. Foam Stars, the free PlayStation Plus classic game, Foam Stars. They don't need to do a lot. Nintendo, we obviously, you kind of alluded to it before. Rumblings that their console's not till 2025, but they're kind of rolling out I guess almost the dregs. I don't mean to be too dismissive because there's some great games in there, but like they're not going with the heaviest of hitters at this point. So they probably go, well, we don't need to say or do anything, and I get it.
Just here's a controller that lasts longer. That's about it. That's all they probably need to do.
And you can
nothing else.
PlayStation. I guess it was technically a 2023 thing for most regions, but PlayStation Portal, go and play it wherever you want. Here's a new set of headphones. I don't know. They don't need to rush to do anything. It's a interesting spot for them. And in the meantime, Microsoft's got to get on the front foot, and they've got some cool games this year. Things that won't presumably come to PlayStation for a little while, but Hellblade and Avowed and Indiana Jones. So I guess we'll wait and see for that. And what's the Ara History Untold, but that's PC only. I don't know. Yeah, it's a strange one. They can probably sit quiet. Xbox has to do all the talking, and they've had to lead off with kind of a negative. So we'll have to see where it goes. When does the first one of these games drop? Maybe the last question for you before we wrap things up. When's the last game of these drops, and what game will it be?
On what? The other consoles?
On the other consoles. I won't ask you to say which consoles because depending on what it is, maybe the Switch can't handle it, for example.
I sort of feel like if they want to start off strong, they go with Hi-Fi Rush. There's no point doing Sea of Thieves because this is going to get absolutely drowned out by Helldivers 2. Yes.
Yeah.
And it'll just be back to fine form of, completely ruining their first game on the PlayStation, and it's an absolute sinker.
Let's not lose sight. Actually, like just for the sake of kind of pointing out, historical things here. Rare, who was owned in part for the longest time by Nintendo, was then bought by Microsoft. So they've been Nintendo exclusive. They've been Xbox exclusive. Is now about to release a game on PlayStation. Like they will have done all three, despite never being a multi-platform team.
I know.
It's crazy.
It's about time. I mean, Team 17, you could probably boast about that saying, hey, we used to work for Rare and...
Oh, the Platonic team specifically, yeah.
But, Rare finally doing all three.
Whilst still remaining exclusive the entire time. Or a first party all the time.
While being off all three platforms, but all their good games are on one platform. Which is Nintendo.
Yeah. Well, Viva Pinata is pretty good. Viva Pinata.
Maybe they'll say GoldenEye over one day.
Maybe.
And people will go, what's this shit? I'll go play COD. No, COD's rubbish. Go away.
I'm with you though. Hi-Fi Rush is probably the starting point. I think it could be as soon as next week this week, if we're right about the whole Nintendo Direct and the fact that they've delayed it because of that. We'll have to wait and see.
Yes. Yes. I didn't even think of that.
And there was the little Steam backend stuff that people found where there was like a whole bunch of different t-shirts that were red and blue and they had kind of very Nintendo-y or PlayStation-y kind of focused comments on them. Suggests that thing's pretty close. So I reckon that might be first, and it could be as soon as this week. Or maybe announced this week, out next week or something like that. Anyway, any other thoughts at all?
No.
All right, let's wrap it up. If you enjoyed this episode of Patch, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Check out all the awesome YouTube channel content that's there. More episodes of Patched, Player 2 Plays, that we're not calling Player 2 Plays anymore, but lots of stuff there anyway.
Our gameplay videos
Yeah.
of some sort.
Lots of
That's just a
gameplay
really long
related stuff.
title.
Yeah, go check out Let's Play content. There's heaps of that there. Visit the website player2.net.au. There's reviews, previews, links to the podcast. I was in Adelaide just this weekend and went and checked out a whole bunch of games at the Sage exhibit. There's a write-up from me on the website that'll be live by the time, or today, as of when the podcast goes live, where you can kind of see all that or learn about that expo and what it had in store. And I hope it gets bigger. It was pretty cool for the 4 hours that I spent in Adelaide checking it out.
And the 7-hour drive back.
7-hour drive back, and Taylor Swift has a lot to answer for. I checked ticket prices. $200 it would have been, or about $200 return in like 2 weeks from now. But the weekend, it
would be about $800.
But it was like like $900 return because of Taylor Swift
for a half-an-hour flight.
Return, keep in mind, both
ways. That's
but
highway robbery.
Yeah, or airway robbery.
Airway robbery.
But yeah, so I drove and saved about $600 in the process.
It's okay. She was now in going to the old
Sydney.
asbestos field in Sydney there.
Oh yeah,
so
I heard something about asbestos. I
good luck with
haven't read about that yet, but Sydney always does it worse. Sucked in Sydney siders watching. We're on Patreon, patreon.com/player2au. Check out all the stuff there. Lower tiers, early access, high tiers, monthly episode exclusives. And finally, there's Twitter. Matto?
Matto_Phil.
Paul James Games for myself. The website is player2au. And until next week, I don't know, maybe you don't need to buy an Xbox anymore. We'll see you later.
Buy a fridge instead.
That looks like an Xbox.
Looks like an Xbox, but runs exactly the same as a normal fridge.
Good shit.